Sunrise and streaming on crossroadstoday.com. One coastal crossroads city is looking to educate residents. And trade talks continue between the U.S. and Russia. What's expected, that's just ahead. Plus the latest as many more in the loss of a prominent conservative influencer and the latest on the accused gunman.
And for your Monday, and for the rest of this week for that matter, we're still a little hot out there with highs sticking in the 90s all across Texas. But if you don't like that, we've got daily rain chances. All that and the weather coming up.
Well, good morning, Crossroads. After a successful week 3, we're continuing to hear from some of your premier teams here in the Crossroads. We're talking to Refugio head coach Drew Cox and quarterback Ray Lewis. See what they have to say coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and welcome to your Monday morning. We're starting our last week of summer.
Last week of, well, astronomical summer. Meteorological fall had already begun. But yes, still does feel like summer out there because it's still a little hot. But if you're all looking for some good news in that department, well, we've got rain chances, and we're going to look at that later, I promise. Because first things first, starting out the week like we always do. You could guess it, it's warm and we're humid, 72 degrees right now in Victoria, and the dew point is still a degree off, bringing our humidity still nice and high at 97%. So make sure to apply maybe some hairspray to combat the humidity this morning. Otherwise, no need to worry about fog. I know the computer says 5-mile visibility. If anything, that would mean it's really, really light. So don't worry about that this morning because we have a little bit of a mixing wind, and that's bringing us some nice temperatures. Lots of us in the low 70s. Got a few of us warmer, getting closer to that warm Gulf water in the mid and upper 70s, even 80 being reported in Seadrift right now. And the rest of Texas is following suit. We got 70s and even a few 60s all across the state and even across the country. You can see they've warmed up a bit in the Midwest and the Great Plains. 70s and even 60s over there. So if you're sending your kiddos at the door this morning, it's going to be just like it is right now. We're going to be looking mostly sunny to partly cloudy and humid, and we'll have some showers to talk about this afternoon. Those details next.
The suspect in an August shooting in Victoria is now behind bars. 31-year-old Charles Brazil of Yoakum was wanted in connection with the death of 23-year-old Tyler Gamez outside a business on Lone Tree Road. U.S. Marshals caught Brazil last week in Brownsville. He's now in the Victoria County Jail on a $500,000 bond. Authorities say the quick arrest was thanks to a team effort between local police, U.S. Marshals, and the FBI. A deadly wrong-way crash on U.S. Highway 59 in Jackson County is under investigation. Troopers say around 6 Wednesday evening, a Chevy Malibu was traveling south in the northbound lanes. Several drivers managed to swerve out of the way, but the car eventually hit a Tesla Cybertruck head-on. The Malibu's driver, 47-year-old Amber York of Rockport, died at the scene, and the Tesla's driver, 41-year-old Brandon Brickley of Houston, was taken to a Houston area hospital and was later released. The Seadrift Police Department is hosting the first of what they hope is a consistent initiative in the city. Seadrift is hosting a public outreach event this week to educate residents on topics specific to the city. The police department is partnering with the General Land Office, the Calhoun County Emergency Management Office, the U.S. Coast Guard, and the A&M AgriLife Extension Office. Each of these departments are combining to educate residents on safe boat operations and preparedness. In a letter from Chief Cheyenne Beaver, she says one of her purposes is to focus on the positive aspects of the community and promoting positive outlooks for its residents. It'll be held from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Friday at the Seadrift Civic Center. That's at 501 South Main Street. To learn more, call Seadrift PD at 361-785-2069 or the GLO Port Lavaca office at 361-552-8081. Chief Beaver says they hope to continue having events quarterly, and she says any residents who come by this Friday may catch a few, quote, awesome boats as part of their boat safety presentation. Victoria County Commissioners are set to meet at 10 this morning. On the agenda, a proclamation designating September as Hunger Action Month in Victoria County, and commissioners will also consider approving services related to the Victoria Regional Juvenile Justice Center generator installation project under the Hazard Mitigation Grant. And they'll consider approving the 2026 Texans Feeding Texans Home Delivered Meals Program. They meet in room 241 on the second floor of the Victoria County Courthouse. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jamieson Greer were in Madrid on Sunday to begin trade talks with Chinese officials. Some of the issues that were expected to be discussed include the strained trade ties between the two countries, along with a looming deadline for TikTok. The talks mark the fourth time in 4 months that the delegations have met in European cities to try to keep a fractured U.S.-China trade relationship from collapsing amid President Donald Trump's tariffs push. Supporters and friends gathered last night at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. to honor conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Kirk's accused killer could be officially charged in Utah as soon as tomorrow. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the details.
To follow Jesus.
Hundreds gathered at the Kennedy Center in the nation's capital last night to remember Charlie Kirk.
I speak on behalf of the president when I say President Trump loved you, Charlie.
More details are emerging about Kirk's suspected killer, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. Utah's governor says Robinson is refusing to cooperate with investigators.
He has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating.
Sources say Robinson surrendered after his father recognized him in these surveillance images and urged him to come forward. Authorities say when they recovered the shooter's shell casings, they contained messages. One read, "Hey fascists, catch." Another referenced an Italian anti-fascist folk song. Investigators also confirming they've now interviewed Robinson's roommate, with whom they say he was romantically involved.
His roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female, and that he is cooperating with authorities as well.
Officials say Robinson had no military experience, but was proficient with a firearm. Multiple social media posts by his family show him posing with guns.
About 175 yards from the podium to the shooting location.
175 yards. And would you have to be a pretty proficient marksman to be able to make it, given those conditions?
Given the environment, that type of shot is not easy.
President Trump continues to blame only the left for political violence, not referencing the Democrats targeted in recent months. But other Republicans are striking a different tone.
You need to take the word radical and remove right or left. And radical coming from any direction is not good.
Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
The Trump administration is asking Congress to approve additional funding to bolster security measures for executive and judicial branches of the government. The $58 million security request follows the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk and comes amid a surge in threats against public officials. The funding would include additional security for Supreme Court justices and congressional lawmakers. Remember, follow us on YouTube, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. The time is now 6:38 on our Monday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up next on 25 News Now Sunrise. An important meeting is scheduled soon to talk about Port Lavaca's future. What challenges and priorities will be on the table? More details ahead.
President Trump says he's prepared to impose new sanctions on Russia, but only if all other NATO nations promise to do the same. I'm Nicole D'Antonio in Washington with the details as efforts continue to end the Russia-Ukraine war.
And also coming up next after the break in the short-term forecast, you heard me say we've got a chance for rain today. So coming up next, I'll tell you just when I think that rain might be here. Well, good morning, Crossroads, and happy Monday. It's a brand new week, but I want to let y'all know this week in terms of weather, it's going to be about the same thing. We're talking about everything. We're going to look at that here in a second, I promise. We'll look at that 7-day. But for today on your Monday, we're going to actually start out the week with some rain chances that'll be with us the entire week. Today, Monday, they're going to be at 20%, mainly for the afternoon time, because in the morning, there is going to be a 10% chance for rain, but that's going to be for our coastal counties, Refugio, Aransas, Calhoun, maybe Matagorda County as well. You might maybe see 1 or 2 showers somewhere out there. Before that chance, like I said, picks up to 20%. And that's going to be between 11 a.m. right here all the way up until about 4 p.m. with the best chance for rain going to be between 1 to 3 p.m. All that thanks to the daytime heating taking effect, because if you don't see the rain, you can see everybody else will be looking between mostly sunny to partly cloudy before the rain totally cuts off after 5, and we're looking pretty clear for overnight tonight, and that'll actually let us cool off a little bit. Look at that after this, because temperatures in the morning time underneath mostly sunny to partly cloudy, looking upper 70s in the morning, 9 a.m. Noontime looking about 89, maybe 90 degrees, but in the afternoon we'll heat up a little bit more. I'm thinking 93 here in Victoria. Looking at your almanac, that's 2 degrees above where we're supposed to be, and everybody else, like I said, is going to be looking about the same thing. Highs in the low 90s. But here's the fun part. Under clear skies tonight, we'll drop down just a little bit into the upper 60s. So y'all enjoy that, because for the rest of this week, like I said, here's the same weather all week long. And we're going to look at that in the tropics next.
District games are kicking off soon in the Crossroads, and a few undefeated teams remain. One of them being state favorite Refugio Bobcats. After their marquee matchup against Edna, 25 News Now Trent Whiten caught up with Refugio head coach Drew Cox and quarterback Ray Lewis for a quick word.
Because they're a really great team and they're really fast. So if I could get outside and maybe bust something open, I do my best. Really, it's all credit to everybody who's blocking for me. You know, if they're doing their job for me, then I can do whatever I need to do for them.
It was like you said, a measuring stick. I mean, we wanted, because they're a big physical defense. They've got a good offense. So we wanted to, see how we measured up, and our kids came out and kind of took it to heart and just played really well, inspired football.
The Bobcats will prepare to take on Fremont at home in their district opener on September 26th, as week 4 is their bye week. But let's wish the Refugio Bobcats and all of our Crossroads teams here good luck as we get deeper into the CFL season. But that does it for your 25 News Now Sports. Until next time, I'm Ray Robinson.
This morning, President Trump says he's prepared to impose new sanctions on Russia, but only if all other NATO countries stop buying Russian oil and increase pressure to end the Russia-Ukraine war. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with details.
This morning, President Trump putting growing pressure on all NATO nations to stop buying Russian oil. In a post on social media, President Trump saying that NATO's commitment to winning the war has been far less than 100%, and going on to say he believes the Russian-Ukraine war would end if all NATO countries stopped buying oil from Russia and placed tariffs on China of 50 to 100% for its purchases of Russian petroleum.
And I'm willing to do sanctions, but they're going to have to toughen up their sanctions commensurate with what I'm doing.
It comes after months of Trump promising to negotiate an end to the Russia-Ukraine conflict and even meeting with Putin and Zelensky separately.
I thought this was going to be an easy one for me, but this has turned out to be tough. The hatred between Zelensky and Putin is unfathomable.
The president has faced criticism for repeatedly setting 2-week deadlines for Russia to de-escalate and then allowing them to pass without any consequences. It comes as tensions are running high over the skies of Eastern Europe. Over the weekend, Romania scrambled fighter jets after a Russian drone flew through its airspace, the second incursion over a NATO country in less than a week. Last week, more than a dozen Russian attack drones were shot down after violating Poland's airspace. Trump suggesting this could have been a mistake, but Poland insists it was deliberate. Some lawmakers on Capitol Hill agree and worry Putin is testing the resolve of NATO.
Tom Tillis said he believes Russia is playing the U.S. Do you think President Trump was played, especially at that Alaska summit?
I never had any good faith anticipation of these negotiations. Putin is a KGB once and always, and I don't think he's playing fair. I think he's manipulating the president as a KGB officer would.
Overall, EU dependence on Russian gas has fallen hard since the 2022 invasion of Ukraine, from about 45% in 2021 to 13% now. However, there are still a handful of European countries heavily relying on Russian oil. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code on your screen to take part. We want to know, do you think sanctions and tariffs can influence global conflicts? Okay, 77% of you say yes, and 23% of you say no. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. The city of Port Lavaca continues to make progress on its harbor improvement projects at Smith Harbor. These clips were taken from the construction site near downtown. The city hopes to increase accessibility with new walkways and resources for residents. The project is funded in part by a grant from the Matagorda Bay Mitigation Trust Fund. This is one of several projects Port Lavaca is working to accomplish. The city is also looking to update its 20-year comprehensive plan. through neighborhood outreach. The first meeting will be Tuesday, September 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Sunlight Girls Club to discuss challenges, issues, and priorities for the city's future planning. Victoria County leaders say an update is coming soon on repairs to J2 Ranch Road. The road was badly damaged during construction of the new Hickory Solar Farm when heavy equipment traveled it daily. For more than a year, it's been back and forth over who should cover the cost, the county or the solar company. Precinct 4 Commissioner Kenneth Sexton says he's meeting with New Hickory Solar next week, and if it all goes well, repairs could start shortly after. The time is now 6:47 on our Monday morning. Still to come on Sunrise, a new investigation raises questions about air quality on flights. What does this mean for travelers and crew? More ahead. All right, it's time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy birthday to Mary. Happy birthday, Mary. She turned 100 yesterday.
Ooh, happy birthday, Mary. And also happy birthday to Addie. Happy 11th birthday, Addie. Love from Mom and Dad.
And happy birthday to Amber. Happy birthday to my beautiful friend. Thank you for being a light in my life. I love you so, so much. From your bestie.
Oh, happy birthday, Amber. And also happy birthday to Kylie. Happy 11th birthday, Kylie. Love you from Momo and Pablo Perez.
Happy birthday to Justina, celebrating our amazing mamita's birthday, praying for continued blessings upon your life and many more years to come. We love you from Chaco, Thomas, Seffi, Zach, Brick, Jake, and Aslan.
Happy birthday, Justina. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, you can come to crossroadstoday.com. Just click the drop-down menu, then click the Home tab, and then you'll see Submit Your Birthday Photo.
The time is now 6:48 on our Monday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today, or maybe you got to celebrate over the weekend.
That's right, over the weekend. Happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure a lot of y'all saw the 7-day forecast, what I was just talking about just a few seconds ago, and you probably see exactly what I was talking about. You can see temperatures, everything for the entire week, all the way into next week is going to be looking just about the same. We're talking high temperatures, low temperatures, sky cover, winds, and our rain chances the entire week. You can see looking just about the same. There'll be a couple fluctuations throughout the week. That's because we got a few systems over us that's going to be bringing us these conditions. Mainly, it's going to be our high pressure system, which is going to be right here over the northern Mexico, and I'm talking for the entire week. And sinking air underneath that, rotating clockwise, that's going to be bringing us our clear skies, our mostly sunny skies, / partly cloudy for the entire week because winds will be coming off of the dry mountains, the Rocky Mountains. But also over the rest of this week, we're going to have our rain chances at 20 to 30%, 30% mainly for the latter half of the week because the winds around the eastern periphery of this are going to be bringing in some moisture that will be actually from the jet stream, which is right about here. You can't see it. And that's what's going to bring us our daily rain chances, 20 to 30%. So I want to let y'all decide if you want to bring the umbrella or not. But there will also be moisture streaming in from the Gulf because at the surface, winds are southeast coming in like that. So in the Gulf, we're still tracking a tropical wave out there. Good news on that. I've pretty much withered away the chances because most computer models have nothing forming, which is good. But in the deep Atlantic, we have another system. Also good news on that. That's going to go way out there. Don't have to worry about that. More later on Sunrise.
We turn now to concerns about toxic air on passenger planes. A new report finding several cases of people suffering from what are described as brain injuries because of suspected exposure to fumes. ABC's Perry Russom has the details.
This morning, an investigation from the Wall Street Journal is raising concern about the number of flights with toxic fumes on board and the potential health consequences.
Our union has been concerned about this for decades, and we've been concerned about it because of the very real life consequences that crew members have faced because of contaminated bleed air.
On most planes, air is pulled in from the outside through engines using a system known as bleed air. If any seals are worn or degraded, oils from lubricated bearings enter the air and vaporize in the heat, releasing unknown quantities of toxic compounds. According to the Wall Street Journal, over the last 20 years, a neurologist has treated about a dozen pilots and more than 100 flight attendants for what's being described as brain injuries after alleged exposure to fumes on planes. The incident spiking in 2017, reportedly driven in part by leaks on the Airbus A320. The journal, citing internal documents, reports Airbus loosened maintenance rules after suspected fume events to get planes back in the air. In response to the report, Airbus tells ABC News its aircraft are designed and manufactured according to all relevant and applicable airworthiness requirements. Back in February, smoke filled the cabin on this Delta flight, forcing the Boeing aircraft to make an emergency landing.
We need manufacturers to be required to make airplanes that either have the filters or create a system where we're not using this bleed air as the means of recirculated air in the cabin.
In response, the FAA telling us studies have shown cabin air is as good as or better than the air found in offices and homes. A recent bipartisan bill proposed in Congress would require specialized filters on planes. Perry Russum, ABC News, New York.
Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. Warnings from global organizations highlight a difficult situation unfolding fast. Following escalating Israeli military actions and calls to evacuate Gaza City, the number of people leaving has surged in recent weeks. On Saturday, Israel's army urged the remaining Palestinians in Gaza City via social media to leave immediately and move south. The UN and aid groups warn that displacing hundreds of thousands will worsen the already dire humanitarian crisis. Still up in the air one day before a key meeting at the Federal Reserve. Who will be there? President Trump's pick to fill an open seat on the Board of Governors up for a vote in the Senate today. And the legal wrangling continues over the president's move to fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook. The committee widely expected to cut interest rates when the meeting wraps up on Wednesday. The future of TikTok in America is in the spotlight once again as a deadline looms. The president says the app's future is up to China. Congress passed a law last year requiring TikTok's parent company ByteDance to sell the app to an American buyer or face a ban in the United States. The deadline was extended by several months by Trump and now faces a Wednesday deadline. And we want to invite you to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And Parker's telling me there is a beautiful sunrise waiting for you just outside your window.
Yeah, kind of this morning, because right now you can see we have a little bit of cloud cover over us this morning, but I would not be surprised if I'm actually forecasting it to start clearing out over the area for the rest of the morning. We'll be looking mostly sunny sometime by around probably about 9 or 10 a.m. I'm thinking. But before that gets here, we're starting out not too bad. Temperature is 72 degrees in Victoria. Dew point still a degree off at 71, bringing us the high 97% humidity. But as you can see, just as I promised you, no fog this morning. It's looking pretty clear out there. But something else that's happening is we do have a few showers, and most of them are concentrated over the Gulf waters right now, but we do have 2 of them that are separated off from the main core and moving inland. So we're going to be tracking those for the rest of this morning. Otherwise, I do think our radar will look a little bit different this afternoon, especially from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'll have a few spotty showers, chances 20% today, high of 92 in Port Lavaca. About the same thing in Victoria, a little bit warmer, I'm thinking 93, but still 11 at 4 for the rain today. And we're going to be pretty much just like that for the rest of the week. So pretty much y'all get used to it, because look at that. Every single thing the entire week, just about the exact same. Interesting, isn't it?
You got to make it interesting, Parker.
Isn't that weird?
Well, thank y'all for being with us this morning. Be sure to join Shauna, Don, Maclovio, and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10. Make it a great Monday, and keep sending us those hummingbird photos. We love them.